Hello everyone, Tony here from Refinement Not Retirement to talk about one of the most important life refinements Christine and I have ever made. That is going vegan. It's something we've talked about many times before, so do please check out our previous episodes on veganism where you'll find out how we came to go vegan. Just look at the titles of our episodes, and I'm sure you'll work out which ones deal with this particular subject. But today's subtopic is an angle we've not discussed before, which I've titled rather provocatively, How to Piss Off a Vegan, with the byline, or make them very happy. So let's start out by giving you my definition of, quote, vegan for the purposes of today's chat. Simply put, as vegans, Christine and I don't eat anything that comes from an animal. When I say animal, I mean mammals, fish, sea creatures, or birds. Now, there are so many funny jokes told about vegans, and one of my favorite ones is, how do you know if someone is a vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you. Usually in the first couple of minutes. And I must admit that's largely true, but it does contain the implication that vegans are evangelical and that we tend to try to convert non-vegans from their evil, animal-devouring ways. And while that is true of some activist vegans, it is by no means true of the majority of vegans, in my experience anyway. And I would humbly submit that it's not true of Christine or myself. But having said that, I wouldn't blame anyone who knows us if they have formed a contrary impression. Why do I say that? Because while we do love to talk about the benefits that have come to our lives from going vegan, we only do so because non-vegans seem to want to talk about it with us. They ask questions like, what made you turn vegan then? Don't you miss this food or that food? Usually it's bacon or cheese. Or they make statements like, I could go vegetarian, but vegan, couldn't do without my dairy milk. So we simply engage in the talking points that are put to us, and we chat to them about our own lived experiences since we made our decision to go vegan. We don't tell people they should go vegan. We understand it's a personal choice issue. And nor do we preach about harming animals, which would be, frankly, hypocritical. Because Christine and I both ate animals all our lives until we turned 60. Just having a sip of peppermint tea. But what we find is that there are a lot of outspoken non-vegans who, as soon as the subject comes up, they want to go on the attack. They seem to want to get into an argument. And one of the most irritating examples of this is something that we've been hearing more and more lately. I think it's because of all the many fantastic plant-based products that keep coming out in our supermarkets to help vegans like us enjoy the familiar tastes that we used to enjoy since childhood before we went vegan. These products are plant-based foods like burgers, tuna, chicken, even pastrami, and yes, plant bacon, and so on. Now, these guys, their attack is usually framed something like, if you're vegan, why would you want a fake version of an animal product, of the real thing? And this is always framed in a pejorative way, as though we're being in some way hypocritical because we enjoy a Beyond Burger or plant-based chicken or tuna made from plants or cheese made from cashew nuts, etc. But we're not saying we didn't enjoy those tastes before. We did. But we don't want to eat them when they are made from the bodies of slaughtered and or tortured animals. Not just for moral reasons, but also because eating plant-based foods is far better for our health. And it's far better for the planet. And it's a kinder, gentler, cleaner way to live. And if we can achieve all that and still enjoy all the tastes that we've always loved, then why wouldn't we? Why is it so difficult to understand? After all, we were all brought up eating familiar, traditional foods based on a process that requires the slaughter of animals. But now that's no longer necessary. Why? Because of all the great choices of plant-based products that are available now. So I don't see that our position is contradictory, do you? What I do find contradictory, though, is when these objections come from people who are animal lovers, clearly animal lovers. They clearly love their pet or dog or budgerigar, and yet can't see the contradiction. Loving pet animals while supporting the mistreatment and slaughter of innocent, sentient animals because they are food animals. Isn't that a palpable contradiction? And yet, there are those who tell us they find it, wait for it, offensive. Yes, offensive. That we want to call a plant-based burger a burger. Plant-based milk, or tofu egg, or plant bacon for that matter. Yes, we vegans do enjoy great tasting food, and we enjoy the traditional textures and flavors that we all grew up enjoying. But what we want now is that all our food should come from plants, not from animals. Plant-based food is healthy, clean, cruelty-free, and terrific for the environment, as I've said. It's healthy because it doesn't clog up your arteries, doesn't fuel cancers, heart disease, or diabetes. And plant-based foods don't add any more bad cholesterol to your system. You might be surprised to hear that studies have shown that plant-based diets are associated with a 32% lower risk of heart disease, our biggest killer, and a 23% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes, which is becoming an epidemic. And you might perhaps even be more surprised to hear that research has shown that even a small shift towards plant-based protein can have significant health benefits. A mere 3% increase in plant-based protein consumption has been associated with a 10% decrease in deaths from chronic diseases. And plant-based food is clean. I can say that because I do the washing up. And since we went vegan, I can tell you it's a lot easier. You don't get all that grease sticking to things. Yep, plant-based food is clean. Not just because of the washing up, though. It doesn't involve animals being kept in disgusting conditions that require the animals to be given loads and loads of antibiotics. Antibiotics are used much more for animal agriculture than they are for humans. And it doesn't involve the animals having to be washed in bleach. Have you heard of chlorinated chickens? To eliminate infections. That's because of the disgusting conditions that so many of these creatures are kept in. They're trampling over each other's feces and pooing all over the place, bleeding, and it's just terrible. And it's plant-based food is cruelty-free because we don't have to, for example, slaughter animals or torture them by ripping their infant children away from them purely to give ourselves what? The pleasure of taste. The pleasure of taste that can be equally had from plant-based foods. Well, maybe not entirely equally, I don't know. But I'm not missing anything, I can tell you that. And plant-based foods are terrific for the environment because going vegan is the one easy thing we can do immediately to all reduce hugely our harmful impact on the planet in so many ways. Did you know, for example, that animal agriculture is responsible for 14.5% of global greenhouse gas emissions? That's more than the entire transportation sector put together. And by switching to a plant-based diet, an individual can reduce their carbon footprint by as much as 73%. And here's another interesting fact. Producing plant-based foods requires much less water. For example, producing 1 kg of beef requires 15,000 litres of water, compared to 287 litres for 1 kg of potatoes. And all that's even before we start talking about the enormous land use and the deforestation that animal agriculture requires. Raising and slaughtering animals is a hugely inefficient way of producing our food, as well as being hugely damaging in oh so many ways. But we vegans have all discovered a whole new universe of tastes and textures. Speaking for myself, it's like my taste buds went from watching black and white TV. I remember when I used to watch black and white TV, shows how old I am. Yes, my taste buds went from watching black and white TV to suddenly experiencing 4K Ultra HD. To go vegan is to embark on an exciting culinary adventure, using plants, herbs, and spices to create an explosion of tastes. And in the next episode, Christine and I will be back together on here, and we're going to dive into some detail about the lovely plant-based foods we've been eating since we turned vegan and the discoveries that we've made that may help others. But going back to what I was saying about pet animals versus food animals, and I know this can be a sensitive subject, but going vegan allows us to align our actions with our desire to be kind and compassionate. We can extend our pet-loving kindness to all animals. Let's face it, there's never been a better time to try veganism. The market is exploding with plant-based alternatives that taste great. And they're constantly getting better because of the substantial increase in demand for plant-based foods. It's a big trend. You must have noticed. And now the world is even moving in the direction of having still more alternative protein choices. Beyond only plant-based ones, animal products are going to be grown in labs that promise to produce food that is healthier, cleaner, tastier, obviously more ethical than using the bodies of slaughtered animals. But while we await that future, which is undoubtedly coming, isn't it worth making a start now by taking some baby steps even in the right direction? Maybe start with 1 or 2 plant-based meals a week. I know lots of people are doing that anyway. If you're doing it, maybe a little bit more. Try going vegan for a month. take a vegan holiday. We've talked in previous episodes. Again, you can find them in our list of episodes from the past about our vegan travel trips, vegan cruises in particular, which have been fantastic. I mean, we talk in detail about it. You go to fantastic places. You go on a ship that has nothing on it but vegan food, but the most incredible vegan food. And you might be surprised just how amazing plant-based meals can be. If you give it a try, you'll make at least 2 vegans very, very happy. And that's not converting you. It's a choice matter. We know that. But I hope to put some thoughts in your mind to perhaps open it to giving plant-based foods a try for all the great reasons there are for doing so. And if you do, please let us know how you get on, whether positive or negative. It's good to get this feedback. If you've got questions about products, maybe there's something that you just can't do without, that you want to find an alternative for, because we've been through all that. Took me ages to find the right milk for my coffee, plant-based milk for my coffee, because I do love coffee. Tried many different ones and then alighted on one that really I love. And as I said earlier, Christine and I will be getting back together and on here, and we'll be revealing some of the great vegan foods we've discovered together. So do check back for that episode. We're off now. We're off to the Isle of Wight for a wedding of one of our dear pickleball friends. So we'll be there for a few days, and so we won't be able to do that episode until we get back, obviously, but we're looking forward to it. So the best way to engage with us, by the way, do like and subscribe if you do like and like our content, and we love having you on this refinement journey with us. And the best way to engage with us is probably via our Facebook, by this podcast Facebook page, which is the same name, Refinement Not Retirement. That's the Facebook page, and you can engage publicly with comments or privately by direct message. Some people prefer that. A lot of people prefer that. Either way, it's lovely to hear from you, and do please engage with us. We'd love that. So anyway, until next time, it's goodbye from me, and see you soon. Bye for now.